My god, this has to be the best Star Wars game I've played since KOTOR, and it's an overhaul to Starfield, not a standalone game. Look, I'm sure you've heard about Star Wars Genesis already, but if you haven't, it's an incredibly easy to install, free overhaul to Starfield that turns it from a humble space sim to a mind-blowingly immersive Star Wars game. This is infinitely and embarrassingly better than Bethesda's paid DLC, which didn't even add a single new piece of gear or even a ship part, or give us even a satisfying bit of story, or involve space at all in a space game. Whereas Star Wars Genesis didn't just mod one thing, it overhauls the entire game from missions to fully voiced NPCs.
My father is a senator.
To locations, to the ships, to Jedi powers, to your superfan, and makes the story and lore believable. And of course, being built on a Bethesda engine, you're going to experience a ton of hilarious, personalized, janky moments. After a very straightforward and easy install, you're offered different starting locations and starting loadouts. Your location drops you in an area of a major faction questline. For example, I started on Nar Shaddaa, and that's a modified Ryujin Industries questline from the base game. I also selected Bounty Hunter, which started me in basic Mandalorian armor and weapons, but you can choose to start anywhere you see fit based on how you want to roleplay. For example, a rebel pilot might want to start on Dantooine, which is drastically improved Aquila City from the base game and now looks more like a Rebel Alliance base. You then proceed to customize your character, including Star Wars themed backgrounds and traits. The wanted trait has to be a must get if you're a smuggler. Being tracked by bounty hunters just hits a little harder than it does in the base game. Plus, you can and should buy the legally distinct YT-1300 white freighter. So I started on Nar Shaddaa and immediately am treated to different dialogue. A spice smuggler was caught trying to ship off-world, which is forbidden. See, in Star Wars Genesis, the Empire is still around, but no longer ruled by the Emperor. It has a new, more benevolent leader, or so we think. The Rebel Alliance and the Imperials are in a stalemate situation, whereas Sith Zealots take the role of a mysterious faction popping in and out, no doubt being puppeteered by the Emperor. There are other various lore-accurate factions to interact with, but I'll keep the rest as spoiler-free as possible. I learned pretty quick that even though some quests share some DNA with the base game, most have been changed or modified to fit in the Star Wars universe. Styx here was vandalized in both games, but as you can see, it was because of the Pikes and not some random gang. The galaxy is huge and there are some instantly recognizable places. Now, I know you want me to show you Tatooine, but I won't cash in and get easy viewer retention by showing you. It's something that I think you'll get joy from experiencing yourself. Now, I do some missions and check out Imperial space. I swear an oath that I entirely intend to break, and I run into my Gungan superfan. Naturally, I have to recruit him. Not before I snap some pictures for a potential thumbnail though. Now, the guns in Star Wars Genesis are as you'd expect, but better. Each type has its own sound design, feel, and look. You'd think blasters would all be the same, but you'd be wrong. Plasma starts off firing wildly inaccurately like the movies, but the more you invest in combat, the stronger it becomes. You tend to take a lot of damage, but you also dish it out as well, at least on normal difficulty. There is a lot of variety as well, and there's more than just blasters. Hell, here's a flamethrower. Combat feels genuinely nice, and I was surprised how balanced it was overall. I only felt incredibly overpowered when I found some rare weapons, and that didn't last forever, and I never felt incredibly underpowered. There was always tension in fights where one wrong move could get me killed. You can approach fights in a variety of different ways, from utilizing mines to sniping your targets, later on even using force powers. I found the game had a ton of enemy variety. Let me tell you, facing down an AT-ST at night was a nope moment. I ran straight back to my ship. Nope. Now, alongside weapons, there's a ton of gear to really customize how you look. I came across different outfits across the whole Star Wars universe, and some entirely custom for this game. Even just exploring around the world, you run into custom objects like blue milk, so you know the love is there. Companions have been overhauled to suit their Star Wars faction. Sam Coe is clearly originally from the Rebel Alliance, Sarah is Imperial, Andrea is clearly Sith, wearing iconic armor from the series, Walter here for example wearing clone trooper armor. And then we have ND5, who I actually want to bring to missions now. If you look hard enough in the lodge, you can even find BD1 as a permanent non-combat companion that follows you around alongside your other companion. Even NPCs you have barely any interaction with have been given love. Vlad here is a goddamn clone trooper now, and it fits so well.
Haven't seen anything like that in the Clone Wars.
Seeing how much love and respect the creators put into the companions, I knew what I had to do. Murder an innocent dancer, strip off her outfit and put it on. I mean, put it on Andrea. Yes, I had to spend some time in prison for it, but it was worth it. This would make for a good thumbnail too, huh? Nah, I can do better. Now, it wouldn't be a Star Wars game or a space game without a starship. Off the bat, you can buy a large range of ready-made Star Wars ships depending on which vendor you go to. On Coruscant, you can buy the ones on screen now. The Nubian being incredibly quick with some powerful weapons and just as powerful price tag. The TIE Fighter being what you'd expect, nimble and quick. The Millennium Falcon, legally distinct freighter, is less nimble, but quick boosting and surprisingly powerful. The Naboo Starfighter is pod racing. Then, if you head to Dantooine, you can pick up an X-Wing. And although the wings don't sadly fold in, it handles and fires as you'd expect. It's a beast. However, you can still build ships, and there are a lot of new parts to fit in the Star Wars universe, so yes, you can make a modified Millennium Falcon with double the engines and firepower. So here we are on Dantooine again, and I just wanted to point out how insane it is that they've taken the time to modify the voice lines and missions to suit the theme. Just look how beautifully it's done.
My father is a senator, a Rebel Alliance senator.
The music will change depending on the situation and where you are, though it was tuned a little high, which is understandable since Star Wars typically amps the music up. It's an easy fix to turn down the music volume in the menu if it gets to you. Let's hope this video doesn't flag YouTube's copyright censors. Now, you can get around on a range of speeders. I chose one with a sidecar so my companion can seamlessly join in on the adventures like the little bitch they are. So yes, you can explore the non-handcrafted areas, but there will be little surprises for you everywhere, like this little guy or some contraband. Yes, you can smuggle in Starfield, but it feels so much more suited to Star Wars. Yet again, selling it is just as difficult as you have both the Imperials and the Rebels constantly scanning your ship. Now, the main storyline in Starfield was about finding the artifacts. Without spoiling too much, you're finding what seem to be Sith artifacts, listening to Sith teachings when you pick them up.
Through passion, I gain strength.
You'll also be finding temples and finding Force powers like Force Lift. I love how they adapted the tasks in Starfield so elegantly. I won't say more. So overall, Star Wars Genesis is well worth the price of admission, which is the current cost of Starfield. I had genuine fun with this overhaul and am still loving it. Yes, there are some rough edges, like things that won't randomly work for some reason, but nothing that reloading doesn't fix. I had so much fun with this mod, I thought, nah, screw it. You guys can wait for a video. That rarely happens, and even more rarely happens to something made by fans, not by developers. I think you should check this out ASAP if you are a Star Wars fan. I couldn't recommend it enough. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. You know what to do. Until next time, ciao, friends.